another episode of Hops and Handshakes. This is episode 19. I am your host, Isaac Oswalt, and I am here with my good buddy from a long time, we know each other a long time, Mr. Robert Hughes of Hughes Integrated, and we are here at the Electric Cheetah. I have already acquired my beer, and we are anticipating a special arrival of the... First of all, Rob, say hi. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob. So, hey, at the end of the day, Electric Cheetah, one of the reasons I love this restaurant is it has such a unique story of every plate of food that you can order, especially some of the drinks that they have available.
Sure.
At one point, I heard they had something like 20 or 30 different root beers on tap here.
That's why we're here?
So, exactly. So,
right.
I actually ordered the old-fashioned, the Kodiak, rather.
The Kodiak. And then what'd you get with it?
Well, first of all, the Kodiak,
okay,
according to our server, is supposed to be perfect for like sitting in a log cabin out in the woods, and I actually got an ice cream float, a root beer float with that. So,
what kind of ice cream in it?
Well, I think I don't know.
We'll ask.
It's probably vanilla, but I do wonder.
Jesse? Who's it?
Jesse is our server, but I do wonder if there's something special about the vanilla as well.
Okay.
So.
Well, okay. Well, as that continues on, as you guys know, on this show, we like to highlight some people doing some very interesting things around West Michigan and other parts. And I've known Rob a long time, meeting back in college.
That's right, Michigan State.
Right. And you were,
Get some right here.
Time out. Thank you. What type of ice cream is that?
It's just vanilla bean.
Vanilla bean. Okay.
But is it made with real vanilla beans?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, Jesse.
Well, we have to cheers this though.
Cheers.
I've never cheersed an ice cream. That's a first on the show. All right.
Brother, when was the last time you had a root beer float?
It's been a long time. I have zero interest.
You have
It's
zero
all yours.
interest. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm getting after it.
Yeah. Go for it. So, I have mentioned before to the community that there was a book that a gentleman, and he actually just reached out to me too.
Excellent.
A gentleman by the name of Kevin Coons just reached out to me at Michigan State. And during this interaction and how we were brought together, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, yeah.
And it
Robert
completely flipped my philosophy.
Love it.
I literally read it a couple times. It was over Christmas break. It was after. So anyway, kind of hit the gear of other things possible than maybe what I was learning in college, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So from there, that's the context and how Rob and I met each other, and then we've kept in touch at different stages of our life to this point, and definitely of a course of working for companies and then obviously doing your own things in a blended. So I'll tee that up. That's how we know each other. That's why there's certainly mutual respect amongst the entrepreneur committee crew, I should say, and Rob, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm glad you ordered the first root beer float on Hops and Handshakes. And tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing today, and then give us the Tarantino aspect and like how'd you get there?
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, Isaac, we have a tremendous problem in the marketplace today, and essentially the problem is this. Many companies are wasting an enormous amount of money on ineffective marketing.
Sure.
Many companies, maybe you watching this, you've gone through the same experience before where you want to build a brand new website, so you take a look at what you've got on there and you hire a graphic designer to come in, and you may sit in an idea session, even in a boardroom, or sit with other creatives on your team, try to come up with the perfect words to put on the website.
Right.
You place it up there, you spend $30,000 updating your website, and then you watch it after developing and deploying it, and it does nothing different than before you had built it. And the reason is that words are essentially important on the website.
Sure.
People don't buy based on pretty websites anymore. That's kind of website 1.0 of the past. Today, we live in an attention age. And it's no longer about beautiful designs and aesthetics as much as it is the clarity of the message. And so in the work that I get to do, I get to help come alongside companies using the StoryBrand SB7 framework as a StoryBrand certified guide to help them clarify their message so they can get crystal clear and help customers engage their brand.
All right, so for a little context, basically at the end of the, it's funny, like we get, obviously owning a marketing company as one of our companies, we have, should I do social media? Should I do this? I get all these questions daily. And I always go back to the answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
But I'm more concerned. This happened this morning too.
Yeah.
It happened this
Yeah.
morning in a meeting with the Better Business Bureau. I'm like, let's forget about the channels for just a second.
Yeah.
What are you going to say that tells me you're better
exactly
or different, or gets me intrigued on why I should continue to listen on?
Yeah.
Because from my world, and Alex and our crew and team like that, we know that we have 1.7 seconds to get you to stop your thumb.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to keep going. That's
To
the
stop my
world
thumb. I thought I was twiddling my thumbs.
No.
But I'm very engaged.
They're going to go. They're going to keep going. You're going to keep going on your
Yeah.
phone, right? And I only got 1.7 seconds to capture your attention.
That's very true.
All right.
That's very
so,
true.
and then, and that's just kind of the world that we live in. But then we're always pulling from ideas on what that core
Yeah.
story is, or what
Yeah.
that, whatever the terminology would you call it, but like, why are you in business? And I think it's been fascinating, and I like what you're doing now. And I want you to tell, you told a little bit about what you're doing, but
Sure.
I want to tell you the path and how you got there too,
Yeah,
and some
yeah,
of the things.
sure.
But I think what's fascinating is sitting down, like, at the end of the day, we understand that there's a monetary benefit to running a successful business, and I understand that a lot of the executives and business owners we work with are after that goal. But the market is not entirely interested in purchasing your product so you can get rich. They're interested in something for themselves and meaning for themselves, so there has to be a connective layer to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people like yourself and what you're looking to do is helpful, and it's extremely valuable and really the root of it. But I'll shut up from that contest. Tell us
Yeah,
kind of the
little-
steps that it took to get to get here.
Yeah, a little backstory. So I started a business in 2011 with a business partner that is actually an executive coaching firm.
Yeah.
Since 2011, we've been blessed to be able to serve clients in 29 states across the U.S. and Ontario, Canada as well.
Yep.
Working with companies, helping them create clarity for their vision, mission of the organization, and ultimately focus their
Sure.
efforts so that they can achieve more results in less
Yeah.
time and also enjoy the journey, not burn out.
Sure.
So in working with that company and building that company since 2011, we tried a lot of different things in marketing.
Yeah.
And in about a year
Okay,
and a
go
half
through
ago,
it. Like, what did you try? Tell me some specific
oh
stuff.
well, we threw dollars into Facebook marketing. We
Sure. The ad
we
product?
Purchasing
product.
ads,
Okay.
exactly.
Right.
We've done a lot of education-based marketing. Where
Sure.
we'll go to events and we'll put on like a sideshow act,
Sure.
breakout session and so on off of
Okay.
the main stage speaker, and then aggregate those leads forward.
So the very top of the funnel, education-based,
Absolutely,
going to a
yes.
site
Yeah.
in which the market's there.
Which is great.
Ideally.
Which is great, but even the term executive coaching, there's a lot of folks that are using that term these days.
Yeah.
And so, I could use any term, and based on your background and experience, you'll have a definition for that term that may or may not be accurate to the type of business that we're trying to run. And so a couple of years ago, I became exposed to a gentleman by the name of Donald Miller.
Yeah, I've met him. He's a good dude.
Who has since gone on to author the book Building a Story Brand, which I think, if you haven't read this would be an absolute read
It's
to
a good
pick
one.
up.
Definitely is.
But in this book, he talked about one of the major pitfalls that a lot of companies have is they try to make their story all about them. When, to be honest with you, the customer really doesn't care about your story as an organization. They care about, can they see their story through your organization? So the reason people visit your website or even read your marketing collateral is because they have a problem they're hoping that you can solve.
Sure.
And if you just go on a rambling of saying, this is what our company does and who, what we're about and our why that exists and all of this, unless they can connect with it, they're going to zone out and kind of file you away into this, sea of other ideas that'll never ever be, picked up or looked at, and ultimately you won't convert that lead. So Donald Miller's story brand material is about creating crystal clear, clarity around a company's story, in that they'll be able to tell it in such a way that people actually want to listen to it.
Sure.
So that's the work that I get to do as a story brand guide.
Yeah, and Donald has done a remarkable job of the whole process of really taking something that to the outsider seems ambiguous, like it seems like very high, like puffy clouds, like not tangible, whatever. But he's actually put it into the whole structure is put into a process that's duplicatable, right?
That's exactly it.
Does that make sense? Okay.
So like the human brain, Isaac, and you probably know this from the work that you guys do as well, but the human brain essentially has two core functions. Well, three if you count finding the right root beer on on a list of 40 options of
Yeah,
root
I'm
beer.
really fascinated what the other two are.
But essentially, there are two functions. The first
right.
is to help you survive or thrive.
Okay.
I mean, think back to caveman days, Maslow's hierarchy of
Yes.
needs.
Yes.
You know, shelter, food, protection.
Yes.
You know, those are some of the essential survival needs that you are hardwired to
Correct.
you know, for your brain to help you, survive.
No
But as you
question.
move up through that hierarchy of needs, your identity, connection to others, relationships, those are more of the thriving side of that scale. So, when I'm talking to a room of people, what I like to say is, if I'm presenting, everybody close your eyes and raise your right finger in the air, and without looking, point to the nearest exit door. Now open your eyes. Now you didn't come into this restaurant saying, I need to memorize where that exit door is, but your brain is constantly scanning the environment for information to say, in the event that I need survival, I'm going to store this away in a place where I can access it quickly.
Yes.
So survival is absolutely
Well, there's a
key.
cheetah right there for crying out loud.
That's exactly
so,
it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
That's
looking
exactly
at
it.
there's probably a back door out there. I haven't really figured that out. But you're right. Right. We remember things we don't subconsciously that we don't understand that we do.
Survive and thrive is a key filter that the brain is constantly working, to harvest information. There's actually a second function as well. The human brain is designed to conserve calories. Wants to help you conserve calories. Case in point, your brain burns calories.
Not enough.
In the work that you do,
Yeah.
are you ever copywriting in the work that you do?
People I know do.
People you know do. Hey, have you ever written a term
Yeah,
paper
I've
for
written some
college,
stuff, yeah.
or copywritten some marketing collateral, where you're just sitting for an afternoon in front of your computer
Sure.
screen and you're typing on a keyboard and you're thinking about the perfect email or whatever you're trying to write in that? How do you feel on the back end of that? Exhausted. I mean, quite frankly, you have no reason to be exhausted. Were you running a marathon?
Right.
Were you lifting weights? No, you were just sitting in a chair and wiggling your fingers a little bit.
Sure.
But at the end of the day,
It's a
you're
mental
blow-torching calories in your brain. So if I come up to you in a party, so your brain burns calories constantly and it's trying to help you conserve it. And if I say, hey, Isaac, what do you do for a living? And you start out by saying, well, Rob, it's kind of complicated. What are you telling me right there? Subconsciously, you're telling me this is going to take a lot of calories. My brain kind of checks out. I may smile and nod a little bit, but if we're at a cocktail party,
You're like-
I'm probably thinking about the electric cheetah food that's being cooked behind you.
You're like, man, I was just trying to be nice. I don't need a novel. Huh?
So our brain is constantly scanning the environment for information that's going to help us survive or thrive, and we're trying to do it in the quickest way possible, conserving calories. So
So if I don't listen to my wife sometimes when I'm supposed to be listening, can I tell her that I'm conserving calories?
yeah,
Or because my brain's typically somewhere else?
yeah.
All right. Well, it's a marital issue. No, it's not a marital issue. Being facetious, but no, you're always like your
Next
your
up,
brain, your
the
brain's
marriage
always on.
advice section. We're going to bring in clinical psychologist and counselor.
Yes, exactly. The downside of a futuristic and strategic mind is being present sometimes. But
Here-
no, it's a fascinating thing because you get out of meetings and you're like, oh my gosh, you just sat there in a chair all day and you're wiped, right?
That's
You're
exactly
right,
it.
yeah.
Well, so the key is, so as a company, like, what do you do with this information? You've got to create such clarity around your message that customers can quickly identify
Correct.
how your message helps them survive or thrive in the quickest amount of time possible. You said 1.7 seconds. I think that's very true. They're they're asking,
that sounds-
can this person help my story? So
It was, I mean, I'm going to dive in here because
Yeah.
I had started off having a marketing company 4.5 years ago, and I had some of my best friends,
Yep.
probably until this year, maybe last year, some of my best friends that know me pretty well, they're like,
Yeah.
I really don't know what the hell you do.
yeah.
Like, and whose fault's that, right? It's because I was like, well, it's complex, and we kind of do this stuff, and we do this things, and we do that, and we've narrowed it down a little bit, and we're better at it now. But like that hard thing. All right, I'm gonna piggyback on you. What you're hitting on is something that I think a lot of people, whether they call it an elevator pitch or whatever, I think a lot of people shy away with it. They're like, just if I had a half an hour,
Yeah.
I could tell it.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, no. You got 10 seconds. What do you say? And that's hard, right? But that's where you come in.
Well, we live in the attention age. This is not the information age. Our iPhones and Androids are designed to invade our attention space. How many commercial messages is the average person exposed to in a given day? Thousands.
It's an amazing number.
Thousands.
It truly is.
And so,
60,000 thoughts a day, all this other stuff we're constantly on, right?
So we're almost being conditioned as a little bit of skeptics
Correct.
to say, you know what, I'm going to distrust
numbness.
everything
Yes.
and be very selective
Yes.
with what I pay attention to.
Yes.
So when people approach your brand, what they're really asking is, how does Isaac's brand help me become better? How do they help me? How's it going to make my life better? So what do they sell? How does it make my life better? And what's the next action that I need to take to buy it? If they can't answer that in 1.7 seconds, 5 seconds, some short amount of time, they're probably going to tune you out and move on to your competition. It's harsh to say, but it's true.
Clarity, right?
Absolutely.
So do you believe? I mean, this all stimulates clarity of who you're going to be and all
It
that.
is,
All
yeah.
mixed together. But all right, can we walk through an example? Because this is exciting.
So in the U.S., in the United States, if you're watching this in the U.S.,
Yep.
and I'll also speak to your European market as well, but if you're watching this in the U.S., we, in the last year or two, came through a presidential election cycle. I mean, this may be shocking news to hear that,
Yeah.
but by the way, we have a new president now in the last year and a half, okay? It's been about a year and a half or so, but he campaigned on a slogan. Do you know what that slogan was? It's something about America. Let's say it together. Make America great again. Now, this is not a political statement at all, not at all a political statement, but make America great again. Mm-hmm. Directly appeals to the survive or thrive mechanism, and it said so simply, some would say too simply, but said so simply that it doesn't take calories to understand it.
Correct.
Viewer, what was Hillary Clinton's campaign slogan?
Forgot it.
Late in the game, she said, "I'm with her."
That was
one
late
of
in the
them.
game. That
the
was it.
story was all about Hillary, not about the.
From a marketing aspect.
So,
she
and again,
failed
this,
miserably.
well, this is not a political statement at all. But Hillary had 120 points in her campaign overall that she was going to improve America with. 120 is way too many. Too many
we can't do
calories.
that. Yeah.
So, just to be fair, let's reverse the tape. Six years or so. Barack Obama is campaigning in his second term. Barack Obama had a campaign slogan. Do you remember what that was? 6 years old now.
I remember the original one. I don't remember
Go
the
ahead.
third.
Original one, 10 years ago.
Oh, he's talking about change the entire time.
Change we can believe in.
Yep.
Change we
Yep.
can believe in. What was John McCain's?
I'm old.
John McCain, if you're watching this, brother, you've
You're
been
old.
through a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
we deeply respect you as a war hero, but I'm
you're
sorry.
awesome.
That is
But-
also true. But at the end of the day, Barack Obama directly nailed that survive or thrive and to conserve calories.
Absolutely.
So in making that message so simple, so portable that people can be advocates for your brand, it's essential if you're going to have an effective message in the attention age of our day.
Who does it well? What you're talking about? Some brands that you think do it well.
Well, we could take a look at any brands that you want to take a look at.
Or, yeah,
We've got-
dive into some kind of example if you like to, or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
So recently, I have a chiropractor I'm working with in Nebraska. Love the organization. Love the owner, the lead chiropractor for the organization. But what's a chiropractor do? I mean, if you're going to write the front headline of a website for a chiropractor, what are you going to put on it?
I mean, they're typically ambassadors of wellness.
Ambassadors of wellness, right?
Yeah.
And so I agree. That's probably a true statement.
Yeah, it's a statement.
And it's true
Not a story.
about chiropractor. His name is Dr. Mike. It is true that he would be an ambassador of wellness. What we ended up with is a headline that says, "Become you again."
Okay.
So now it's no longer about Dr. Mike. It's all about the pain that has been holding you back from living the full self that you want to become.
Sure.
So we took a pivot with that and created a front website for him that it is all about the client, the patient, all about their story coming through it.
Nice.
We've done the same thing with physical therapy offices, financial advisors. If you're going to be running a financial advisory service, what are you going to put on the front of your website?
Sure.
I mean, what do you typically think people come to a financial advisor for?
Obviously, the wealth preservation and the growth and just understanding the entire financial game, where I could speak to this at length, but they've made it so darn complex that
Yeah.
they just would rather you just push it across and pay 1%.
Yep.
To ignore it, right? Yeah.
So there's a whole business end of the financial advisory
Absolutely.
service.
Absolutely.
And what we've done with several different clients that I've worked with in financial services, it depends on the type of client that they're trying to reach.
Yeah.
For those that are trying to, like that million and up club that are looking for the upper echelon of the investable assets, we may appeal to the folks that don't want their money to run out. So have money when you need it most. Something like that is about the client story. For others, it could be the fact that they feel like they're just a number going into ABC advisory.
Correct.
So for them, maybe it's an expert who actually listens. That's actually what they're looking for, and then maybe that's the headline that you want to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the front frame of that website should be so crystal clear, so clean that people can answer those three things. What do you offer? Like, what are you selling? How does it make my life better? And then what do I need to do to buy it? So many websites fail to include a clear call to action. And I'll tell you right now that if you are selling a product or selling a service through your website, monetizing the website that way, you should have a buy now button in the top right corner that is bright colored, total contrast from the rest of your website.
Above the fold, above the fold, scrolling, there has to be.
Top right corner.
Yeah.
Because the eye moves in a Z pattern. You'll read this in the book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. But the eye moves in a Z pattern throughout a website. So people start actually in the top corner of the website, they move over to the other side, and they Z pattern down. So if you follow that, strategically placing copy and call to action buttons, you'll dramatically see an increase in lead conversion and engagement. And we saw it. I think you originally asked me, what's my story with StoryBrand and how this come about? So with our other business, R3 Coaching, in 2011, we started marketing this thing, and it really felt like guerrilla marketing, where we were just getting out there and doing these education-based workshops and aggregating our own leads. Email marketing was always, interesting for us, but we weren't very effective with it. A few years ago, we became exposed to the story branded principles, and we saw literally overnight double engagement in our email click-through rates, and that has continued to be a trend that we've really benefited from. So, in marketing, email marketing, one of the biggest questions is, are you putting information in front of people that they actually want to see, and are they going to click through and take an action that comes out of it? The story brand principles and creating the clarity around them have helped us do that as a firm.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And I think we have it written in our office, and we share it in this. We have a channel in Slack. And Slack is basically an organized text thread that we use habitually in our business, and it always pops up as we're contributing different pieces of content that we find valuable and meaningful. One of them is like an article that somebody wrote on Medium, and we've shared it a few times now.
I'd say it again, media?
Medium.com, right? Article network. And it says, great marketing isn't for you. And you go through and you read the whole thing, and he says, it's not for you, it's for them. It's for your market, it's not for you.
So true.
But that's his headline, and so you click it, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? But it's highly fascinating. It's the steps that leading up to that, and and then I guess I have to say, as we talk about this stuff, what we've learned here, talking about with what Rob is doing, is there hasn't been a more important time in human history, in my opinion, that marketing and sales need to directly align.
Yeah.
Right? We work with businesses that view marketing as making a flyer or two in the back room, and then the salespeople go sell it. And they really need to connect, because the customer experience is happening, with people, and then happening a lot without people.
Yeah.
What's that story that you're telling them without that, right?
Yeah.
Or what are your salespeople like? When they say, give me 30 seconds, what are they saying?
Oh.
Like we had an event that we were part of about a year ago. We had VP of sales owners of significant sized companies. We asked them to give their elevator pitch. We had a few people that I thought were going to puke on their shoes. And they're running billion-dollar organizations, and they're in charge of sales, right?
You only get one chance at a first impression.
Yes.
Don't waste it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, what did you get, by the way? That doesn't look like root beer.
Hell no. I got it's not on here. I got the Arbor Brewing Buzzsaw IPA.
He got the 21 Handshake is what he got. That's what it's called now.
You got it.
Cheetah.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that could be it.
We're going to call this the 21 Handshake. Can we call this the 21 Handshake?
That's pretty cool, man. How is it? Is it?
It's delicious, and if you wanted a sip of it, I would share.
Because I
do love you that much.
That means a lot.
But it's okay.
I am all set in that regard. Okay.
So listen here. Why story, and why story brand?
Sure.
Like we've said throughout this interview here that there's a story-based marketing approach, but like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
So I told you about like we live in this attention age where our minds are constantly being invaded, with marketing messages and so on. Mm-hmm. Story, the average human brain daydreams 30% of the time. And if you made it this far into the video, there's a chance that you started daydreaming or checking an email. Stop doing that, okay? Listen, I got this trick. It's called the thumb trick right here.
They can't help it.
Look at this.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's magic.
Very nice.
That is magic. And it does impress my 8-year-old and 4-year-old.
That's perfect.
But
Hold on to that.
So
that'll wear off.
So
yeah.
As Isaac's daydreaming, we're all daydreaming.
Yeah.
30% of the time, story has the ability to pause the human brain from daydreaming for 90 to 120 minutes. Case in point, how long was the last movie that you went to see in the theater?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have you ever gone to a 3-hour movie?
It's tough.
Are you looking at your watch? Are you checking your phone?
It's tough.
Are you thinking about dinner? Mm-hmm. You start to daydream after the 120-minute threshold.
Sure.
And so essentially what StoryBrand did was it took all of the best well-told stories and it overlaid the common kind of storylines on top of one another, and extracted 7 core elements that we can leverage in the marketing realms. These elements include things like character transformation. What does the hero actually want? The hero meets a problem. Any good story has a good problem that the hero has. So our problem is a brake press in the back.
Yeah.
So the character needs to be transformed. They have a desire, a want, that's the hero. Mm-hmm. They meet a problem. Then what happens? Luke Skywalker meets Yoda. Katniss Everdeen meets Woody from Cheers. Everybody's got a hero, a guide that they meet. Mm-hmm. So the guide is somebody who's been there, done that, has the t-shirt to prove it. They have the authority and the empathy.
Yeah.
And then the guide provides them a plan, calls them to action, that if they don't take that action, it could result in failure, but ultimately want to leave in success.
There's a fork in the road part of the story.
Fork in the road part of the story, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Turning point where there's no turning back point, right? Yeah, it can either be X, it can either go here or here.
That's right. So if a company can frame their messaging in that model, what we call through StoryBrand, the SB7 framework, it can powerfully capture the attention of the target and ideal client and tell that story in such a way where that ideal client wants to listen to it.
Sure.
They lean into that story.
And your ability to capture somebody's attention allows you to generate the relationship and all that, and you continue on your sales process from
Step
there.
Step 1 of 21 in terms of the handshake.
You got it.
This moment has been brought to you by 21
No, you don't have to plug us. I appreciate that though. Got a little background on you, a little into how you got here. How many? Let's see. How many years have you been an entrepreneur?
Well, 35.
Did you know? Like,
how many years have I been making an income as an entrepreneur? Hold on.
It's never the same as.
We could. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's never the same as like how many years you've been an entrepreneur. There's times where you don't.
So here's the deal. There's wantrepreneurs and there's entrepreneurs, and I think I'm somewhere in between both of them at different times, in my life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're watching this and you have considered that scary moment where you take the plunge and you go fully independent, my biggest encouragement for you is not to try to go chase money around for that. Start with your purpose. Who are you uniquely designed to be? What types of activities uniquely ignite a passion in you? And can you find an economic engine that supports that? If that is the case and you can find that pair up, you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah. That is the type of business that you are called to pursue. And so it's taken me several years of entrepreneurism to figure that out a little bit, but
So there's a lot of popular content on social networks talking about, find your purpose, the same stuff you're talking about. And it's all true.
Yeah.
But I think there's a part of this that is missing is how many things, personally from my story, I've experienced to figure out what that was. Like, I can't just, I know my purpose, whatever. It requires a ton of action for a lot of people to figure out the purpose because you actually have to remove you might have 39 things that you didn't like, and then the 40th one, or you start kind of gauging to that. Like, there's things that I liked about 21 Handshake, things I didn't, and it's a continuous process, though, right? Because I think sometimes in modern society today, it's like, find your purpose is like, plug it into Google Maps, and you just drive there, and in 37 minutes you'll be at your purpose.
Yeah.
And we'll show you the nearby restaurants. Like, it's not, like, if it's that way for you, you're lucky. No. In other ways, you require experiencing a lot of different things.
You know, I think your life leaves a breadcrumb trail, like the old Hansel and Gretel. Okay, I just accented that.
That was I think I know what you said though.
But your life.
What was it without the accent?
Hansel and Gretel.
That's what I thought. Okay,
leaves a breadcrumb trail. And if you, now looking forward, I agree. If you say, I need my purpose so I know where I'm headed, you're probably going to struggle in that a little bit. But one of the best places to start is to look backward at where you've come from. Even in the job that maybe you're watching this, you've got a job that you don't really enjoy that much. Think about what are some of the aspects of that job that you do actually enjoy. And maybe it's 5%, sadly, maybe it's 5% of what you do, but pay attention to that. Subjectively, what are some of the things that you think you would enjoy? People that are closest to you, what would they say that you're best at?
Yeah.
And I would also say objectively, like personality profiles, Myers-Briggs, DISC, some of those, all of those can start to give you some clues to the types of work. And even in entrepreneurship.
He's talking about self-awareness though, too.
Well, I mean, even in your company, I would imagine that there's a lot of different expressions that you could take as leading your organization with 21 Handshake, but you've chosen to equip and empower a team based on your unique gift set and their unique gift set. I mean, I've seen how you work, guys. Like, you empower tremendous people in positions of authority over major divisions of your organization. I'm really impressed by that.
That would be correct. I appreciate that. That'd be correct. But like day one, we flip you the keys, and then it's yours. We'll help you along the way.
Like Ferris Bueller?
There's a reason we hired.
Can I take it for a drive?
Yeah.
Hey, 21 Handshake, like and subscribe to this channel right now, and comment below. You tell me, do you want Rob to take Isaac's company for a test drive, and then afterwards we'll put it in a garage and we'll put it in reverse to take the miles off the car? He won't even know. We'll wait for him to go on vacation.
I don't even know what the hell that
comment
means.
Below and let me know if that's something you want us to do.
Cool.
Just for a day.
Perfect.
We could swap.
It's
big.
We have so understanding
Tom
whatever.
Hanks.
Big? Did you just say big?
Yeah, like Zoltar.
You get the piano, you get the keyboard, the piano in your office from the movie, the big one in the mall.
Oh!
I'm talking about big, aren't I? Isn't that big?
Yeah, that's big. You got it.
Cool.
Got the right movie.
Okay. You get that in there, and we'll do another one.
I was still on the carnival guy, Zoltar or Zoltar.
Oh yeah, that guy was creepy.
But that's how it starts, bro. We're gonna have to go through. We're gonna have to find one of those.
A creepy box.
So comment below. Do you know where we can find a Zoltar, and actually correct my spelling for that because I know I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Zoltan.
We'll go with Zoltan.
Zoltan. All right.
Yeah.
So back to what you said. Like it takes time. It takes time looking inward, right? And being self-aware in all these key terms, but really being honest. Because I used to send out like pseudo questionnaires to my friends and people I work with. I'm like, what am I good at? And more importantly, what wasn't I good at?
Yeah.
Like I want to know. Like there's a lot of people that don't want to know that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I really do want to know that because. Number one, maybe I can improve, and number two, there might be just, that I need to steer away from that, or what I've done is I've hired that.
Yeah, you've got a tremendous team, absolutely.
But like you, and then I look at that person, I'm like, you have to be good at this, because I'm not. Like, no, this is not, hey, can I do this? This is, no, you need to do this, because if you don't, we're screwed, But
note to self: don't apply for 21 Handshake.
Correct.
Unless I'm ready to really jump off the cliff.
Unless you're ready to do it. No. But what's fascinating with this? So as you talk about this and looking inward, like what's the biggest thing that you've learned in your 35 years of everything? Like if somebody's willing? Maybe it's not entrepreneurship. Maybe they're doing something that maybe it's scary, or maybe something that's going to require a different mindset or a different skill set.
Yeah.
Like what have you learned in your career that you think would help that individual that is looking to do something?
Like looking to take the plunge and do something.
And whatever that is, that would be,
you know what,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, so here's the deal. 2 words. Grab a pen right now and a pad of paper, and I'm going to give you 2 words.
That's 2 words.
That if
you are way over 2 words.
That if you will follow this advice, you will absolutely constantly have a life that moves towards success, period. Here's the 2 words. Are you ready?
Yeah, I got it.
The first word is fail. The second word is forward. Fail forward. As long as you're always learning from your mistakes, trying to not make the same mistake 2 times, but be willing to take risks, failure is absolutely a part of anything worthwhile. Remember that dip. Anything worthwhile that you start pursuing, there's going to be a dip before there's growth to it.
That's Seth Godin, right?
He wrote a book
talked
called
about
The
that
Dip.
in Dip, yep.
But if you think about it, think about a weight loss routine, think
Sure.
about a goal that you set, like, hey, I'm going to start working out, New Year's resolutions. You're all hot and heavy on it for the first week, but then your aches and pains start kicking and your muscles are sore, and it's cold out and you don't want to go to the gym. There's that dip moment. Many people say that in that dip moment, that's a sign that I'm doing something wrong and I need to retreat back to my comfort zone. The answer is absolutely not. The dip is validation that you're on the right trail. So acknowledge the dip and acknowledge even failures, trials. Learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. I think that's probably the best advice.
Give me a specific moment where you were in a dip.
Man. Well, I mean, pick an area of life in that. I threw my diet out the window last night. Okay, but seriously, can a man live without carbs? I don't know. I don't know. But now I'm going to get back on it. So here's my dip. You hold me accountable to that.
Right.
No, you know what? Here's a dip. So we started our company in 2011. And if I could just be vulnerable, it's just you and me here and Isaac. Whoever tells you that starting a company is easy is blowing some steam at you, quite frankly. They're not telling you the truth. We started the company, and by God's grace, had a great and strong vision. But it probably took us a solid year to start turning this thing into something that my family could survive with and could really work with. And I'll tell you, it wasn't the fact that you had to wait a year and it's like, oh, we just got to get through that first year. It was the 11th month of doubt, the 11th month of in the 11th hour, if you will, of doubt, concern, when it just isn't working yet, and you're wondering and you're questioning, am I doing the right thing? Is this really the right path that I should be on? And you're considering retreating back to safety and comfort.
Yep.
I think that's where the real entrepreneurs versus entrepreneurs, I think that's the kind of the test, the crucible that refines that gold a little bit, because man, I'm just so thankful that we hung on to it. And there's still dips. Anything that we start new, there's going to be a dip moment to it. But don't think that your failure or challenge is a sign that you need to retreat back. I would say stick to a plan. Give yourself minimum timelines that you will stick to this thing and pursue it. Does that answer your question?
Well, and
that's a deep question, bro.
Well, yeah, that's what we do here. It goes back to what your purpose is, whatever that, because your reason why is going to be beyond that. Like I have a couple things that probably propelled me forward in those moments, because my original ideas. Yeah. I don't even really think I failed forward. Actually, it was just kind of failing, and like. When he says fail forward, it makes sense. Sometimes you won't realize you're failing forward. Sometimes it'll feel like a circle, too. Like, speaking from experience, but it's this kind of looking in the rearview mirror of life. Like, again, this is easier for me because when I take that Strength Finder book, I'm either 1 or 2 futuristic every time. So I can see 50-year-old Isaac as clear as I can see 35-year-old Isaac.
Voltaire.
Which is
Voltaire, right here.
It's even more gray hair than I have now. It's not good, but I can see that, and there's several different things that I thought about. And things will come at you along the way, and anyway, you got to hold on to those of who you're going to be and the story that you want to hold on to, and that's like those dips are. The dip is when your emotions are trying to get the best of you, and you forget why you started in the first place. And the hardest part is a lot of people in modern day society are used to a clear path, and sometimes that just doesn't exist. That was probably the hardest part. One of the hardest parts for me is like, and I had 4 job offers in the first 5 months when I wasn't making any money that were all a lot more money than I was making.
That's test. That's your test. That's your crucible.
Yeah.
You're going to retreat back to what's known, what's
I didn't even
sure.
tell
What's
anybody.
it really is? Is that really even sure? Here we are, full circle back to Robert Kiyosaki now.
No.
But is that even really sure? I mean, employment may feel secure because that's what everybody around you is doing, but it's not necessarily the most secure thing.
You know, it all depends on the personality. It all
Yeah.
depends on that. Like, or if it's, you know, like you said, a weight loss plan or whatever stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's supposed to. It doesn't make. Sometimes it doesn't make it in
Yeah.
the Instagram photos and that stuff. Like the grind. Like the grind's a popular term now. Like, oh, I'm grinding, and then they show you like 17 minutes of work. Like the people that are truly effing grinding don't have time to talk about them grinding. They're doing stuff. That's what bothers me. It's like, I mean, and the amount of work that it takes with your brain power too is definitely. Starting a company is actually relatively easy when it comes to the formulation of getting the documents and all that kind
Filing
of
the
stuff.
paperwork.
But actually getting it profitable and
Yeah.
is the other
Well,
the other bear. Right?
so that's the Jim Collins thing. So, like, what are you good at?
It's good to great, right?
Good to great. It's
Okay.
like, you know, what are you the best in the world at? You know, what can you make? And, like, are people willing to buy it? What's the economic engine to it? So if you can
Okay.
answer those three
Yes.
different things, like, that's going to
Exactly.
be kind of a good thing. So and some people would say experience is the best teacher. I think that's false. I think evaluated experience is the best teacher. So another discipline, a personal
That's
discipline that I've kept up is journaling. Every morning I get up, I read actually the scripture, I read
you?
Bible,
Yep,
and
good.
I journal. And I try to reflect on previous experiences and what I could learn from that. And it's not that I go and I read my journal, I have it on Evernote. It's not like I have to read my journal every day to like remind myself of the previous year's worth of experience, but it's in there. And the reason I like Evernote is because I can search key terms in there too. So if I am processing a new decision, I'm like, have I talked about this before or have I gone through this before? I can do a quick little search in that and pull up my previous journal entries and see the
Fascinating.
pitfalls. And I could be really weird too. Sometimes I write an advice section to future Rob, back to the Voltar thing. I say, advice for the future, and then I fill in the blank. I didn't know this interview was going to go there, but that is true, and that's one of my journaling habits.
There's nothing wrong with. I got in the habit of things that I'm stumped on or things that I'm trying to figure out. Like, I write it down, and
Yeah.
my wife got me a little, actually really cool leather. But like, I have the iPad Pro where I write on. I still like writing on paper sometimes too.
Do you really?
I do. But I like the, I don't know, the feel, whatever. Or
Comment
even,
below, do you think his penmanship should be written on paper, yes or no?
No, it's even worse on an iPad now. But so she got me this for Christmas, and so I write down the things that I'm stumped on.
Yeah.
And this is empowering your subconscious brain. If you read the law of attraction, it's going to correlate into that. There's different ways of talking about it. But I write it down like a question that I'm thinking of, and I
Yeah.
go to bed. Because,
Oh,
and I wake up. Sometimes I don't wake
That's
up
a
and
good
I answer
idea,
it,
bro.
But like I write down a couple different things, or what went well today, or what am I troubling with, or like that. Like it's amazing, like when you put something down that's stuck in your brain or it's swirling in your head, and you put it down in a visual,
Yeah.
and you're like, because sometimes I've looked at them and I wrote down, Isaac, you suck at this and this and this, and then you read
Aw.
that, you're like, oh, don't awe me,
Aw.
it's fine. And then you read that, you're like, well, is that really true? And you're like, well, and then the first part of it is like, yeah, it might be a little true. No, that's not really, no,
buddy.
But sometimes, sometimes it brings fiction in your head to realism. Or if you're struggling in the dip, I'm going to go bankrupt, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you write all that stuff down, and then you kind of look at it like, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy, right? But if you keep it stuck in your head, it's going to eat you up, and then that energy, back to the energy in your brain, I'd rather have that.
the
on how
electric
you're
cheetah
gonna-
in your brain.
No, you talked about the energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, survival.
I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
good.
I'm with you.
Man, I'm correlating this thing all
Dude,
over
this
the
is
place.
getting deep. I'm liking this.
Of course.
Dude, we should have a philosophy episode where we just dive in deep and we take viewer questions.
I truly believe that this and this are the engines, and then everything else is,
Yeah.
And for me personally, and I don't know if it's this way for you guys, but a lot of what I've had to do is not necessarily like create things, but obviously remove the stop signs
Yeah.
that I've created in my own head.
Yeah, so,
Like
that-
getting out of my own way. There's a book called that. Get out.
Get out of your head?
Don't get out of your own way.
Get out of your own way. I have not read that book.
It was a part of the original. I got it in college.
I should have checked it out.
Yeah. It was
I do. Well, we all carry around limiting
almost gone.
beliefs. All of us carry around limiting beliefs, and these beliefs are self-doubt, negative thoughts. that hold us back from taking those risks.
What do you do? What do you do when you have one?
Well, quite frankly, any activity, any action, any behavior that we have, it can probably be sourced back to a belief that caused it.
Yeah, there's probably a certain scenario.
So for instance, if you're really insecure as a kid, you're not going to go door to door selling Girl Scout cookies or popcorn as Boy Scouts, right?
Sure.
You're probably not going to be comfortable doing that because you feel very insecure and you're unsure of yourself. But if you're that confident little kid, you're going to walk into your parents' workplace and you're going to sell it.
Sure.
Because of a belief about yourself in there. But on the flip side of that, it might be a positive belief. On the flip side, we may carry limiting beliefs. And so I would recommend using a journal, actually write those down as honestly as you can. Like, I feel like I suck today. I feel like this today. Like, actually write those down. And to think about, don't just leave them there though. My encouragement is to think, like, what is a truthful statement that is actually true about me? Or what would I like to be true about me? And rewrite that limiting belief into a positive and supporting belief. And that, quite frankly, if you really wanted to ask me, Rob, what do you do every Sunday morning?
Rob, what do you do every Sunday morning?
Well, thank you for asking, Isaac. I actually pull out a list of those positive beliefs that I've written, and I review those. I call it like a life mission statement. Those just personal affirmations that affirm who I am and what I believe about myself.
Okay, so you're writing those down daily?
Actually, that particular list I wrote down and I refresh it annually.
Okay.
But it's just a personal affirmations thing that just speaks truth into me. Because I do have the kind of inclination, the default, probably like many of your viewers that are watching this, to have these limiting beliefs that just want to hold me back. And so this is my proactive step to be like intentionally feeding myself with truth about who I actually am and who I feel I want to be.
And it's as simple as putting it down where it's somewhere visual, right?
Somewhere visual, then you have to revisit it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you recite the negative beliefs? So every one time you do that, and do 2 times for the positive beliefs. If you keep that ratio, you'll probably be in good
You'll
shape.
be okay. You'll be okay. That's really good. I like it. That's really good.
Come on, get some.
That's really good.
Hey,
All right.
you're going to get your money's worth today on 21 Handshake. I tell you that much right now.
So, what's last we went through? That's something that can help anybody. We talked about that is really good. So let's do that one more time.
Yep.
So one thing to do, and we were talking about the dip, and we're talking about getting through something.
Yeah.
And you are going to encounter, like, there's tactics. You can Google how to do anything.
Yeah.
But emotionally,
Yeah.
is where it's all designed on. Is where it's going to be controlled, like in your head, right? So simply writing down what you're feeling that could be negative, and then changing that to what you would really like to feel or experience. Is that
feel or a truth that disarms that feeling. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm bad at this and this and this, but then you're like, wait a second, 4 weeks ago, there was an instance that I was actually really good at that. So maybe I am good at that. Is that what you're saying?
Or I might say a little pivot to that, like let's talk relationships. Like one in particular could be like, hey, if I'm open, transparent, and honest, I'll get hurt, and that's bad. Like that could be, so what I want to be is fake and a veneer, and hold up this front for people so that they don't really see the real me, because my feeling is if they see the real me, they won't like me. Like that's real. That's a real belief that Rob carries around. But the reality is, if I want to flip that, it's like, hey, if I'm open, transparent, honest in relationships, I may get hurt, but it's worth it to have authentic relationships, an authentic handshake. But to really have a relational connection with someone, like my wife or kids, it's worth exposing myself to get hurt a little bit. Few people ever really have those types of relationships where they are that fully open, authentic, and vulnerable. And so my new belief is that it's worth the potential for pain. So not that the pain's bad and to be avoided, but it's just like, hey, if it happens, it's the cost as a means to an end.
I think in the last 5 years of being, business owner, I think one of the things I've learned to do the best is to create most decisions in life kind of have a gray area to them. They're not black and white, so to speak, or opposites. Yeah. And I've learned to actually get through the minutia of that could cause pause and turn it into a yes or no fork in the road.
Tell me about it.
I don't want to do that because I might get hurt. Well, okay, well, do you want a relationship? Yeah, I'd like to, but I might get hurt, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. So there's two decisions, right? It really comes to what's your upside and what's your downside,
Yep.
right? So I've literally tried to break everything down to where it's either this or this. And I understand there's minutia in both. I understand it's not 100% and 0%.
Yep.
But there's a fork in the road of every decision.
Yeah.
And make the decision and commit to the decision.
Yeah.
And then go with it until you know anything different. A lot of people have what you're talking about there,
Yeah.
but don't do anything because they're stuck in the gray.
Same thing for our entrepreneur that we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're fearful of taking that plunge because they don't want to risk failure.
Yeah.
So what's the belief there? If I fail, then I'm bad. If I fail, then I can't be an entrepreneur. That might be a belief that
And
some
I
of
ask
you are
you,
carrying
which
around.
one is more important? Having the opportunity to succeed as as an entrepreneur, or reducing your risk, and is not failing more important to you? And which one's more important? Because that, to me, that's a yes or no.
Yeah.
Is it more important to have the opportunity to succeed, or is it more important to you to not fail? And your behavior will dictate that decision. That's a fork in the road.
And see, I would define success as this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how
Fail
you do
forward.
it. You're like, yeah. You're
If
like,
you're,
look,
if
I'm
you're
gonna
doing
go.
this over and over and over again, over enough time, I would say that is a successful person.
I ain't chance in hell I can read that, but it does say fail
Well, because
forward.
that's because you should be typing that, bro.
I know.
We're back to the
I
penmanship
typed in
thing.
fail
It's
forward.
all
Got it.
good.
All right.
You got
we
people.
talked about, you've got plenty of advice to help somebody. All right. Last question, wrapping up here.
Yep.
18-year-old. You can answer this in two. You can go two different routes with this.
Yep.
What would Rob tell his 18-year-old self?
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
Or you have two children that are ages 8 and 4. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What would you tell them on their 18th birthday that you
Oh.
hope they carry on with them?
Oh.
And would they be the same?
Oh, boy. Okay, 18-year-old Rob. We're back to the Voltan, transforming back to the little big. Okay,
I think we need an affiliate link to Mr. Big.
okay. Let's see here. 18-year-old Rob, I would say, on a serious note, fan the flame of curiosity. Curiosity is way more valuable than knowledge. Period. Stay
Yeah,
curious,
okay.
stay hungry, stay humble. If that can be your kind of internal belief,
Would you say that to your kids too?
no, I got something else for them. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Here's to my 8-year-old.
Daughter wears
My
sweatpants,
8-year-old.
sweatshirts.
My 8-year-old. This is very serious. Pokemon do not have a return on the investment. And to my 4-year-old, you build beautiful Lego towers.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
And you're gonna say that
But
when they're 18.
don't make me pay for it.
You're gonna say that when they're 18.
That was the Make America Great Again joke. That's a bad joke. Too soon for that joke.
Yeah, it's a real product.
Don't make me pay for the Lego wall.
Oh, that's where you're going?
That
with
was bad.
Wow.
That was bad.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to change. I believe in change for that.
They're graduating high school, and you
Yeah.
do the hugs, and then you have the party afterward. You're so proud after commencement.
Yeah.
And if you never listen to Dad again?
Yeah.
What do you want them to know? Outside of I love you, I'll be here for you forever.
Yeah.
Because obviously that we'll call that
Yeah.
pretty consistent that you would say.
Yeah. I would say, this is deep stuff, man. This is philosophy hour.
No, man, it's
This
just
is
a
really
relationship
good.
with kids.
So, straight up to my children, what I would say is live life discovering and becoming who you were built to be, who you were born to be.
To go on that journey.
And it won't be a light switch that you flip to say that instantly I know who I'm supposed to be and so now I'm in my lane. But live
Can't
life
wait.
constantly asking that question and constantly fail forward toward that question. Because we're all built for a purpose. It's
Can't-
far greater than anybody's individual story. It's a whole story that
and
we're a
Dad,
part of.
Mom and Dad would be happy to fund the adventure for the next 20 years. You just go after it and go do it.
No,
No.
we
Okay. I want them to watch this in 10, 14 years. It'll be fun.
and I buy book reports from my son. I pay him $20 for a book report, and the deal is that he has to save money for his first car. He's 8 years old, and I'll match him dollar for dollar up to a certain amount that we've agreed on. And so, if those
Can I get in on
Pokemons-
that deal?
What's that?
Can I get in on that deal? Book report?
Yeah, you can start chipping in and paying for that too. That really
No,
helped
no,
me
no,
out
no.
actually. So, but the deal is that if he really likes Pokemon, he might be riding his bike as a 17-year-old someday.
Okay.
So
All right.
he
I
can
like
live with that natural consequence.
Good little nugget.
Yeah,
That's
go ahead.
awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for taking some time out here at the Electric Cheetah. How was it's gone.
That's how good it was.
It was good though, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Isaac, I have the utmost respect for 21 Handshake and the businesses that you have built. And so someday
you.
when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh.
So thank you.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And that wraps it up here at Electric Cheetah. Thank you for tuning in to Hops and Handshakes. Check out Rob. Rob, we'll include links below. You can say it too. How do we find you?
First of all, before me, even go to Amazon and buy Don Miller's book, Building a Story
That's a good
Brand.
one.
It's an absolute worthwhile read. It will absolutely transform your business and the clarity of your marketing.
Sure.
If you need some help pulling it all together, that's what I do as a Story Brand Certified Guide. And so you can find me at hughesintegrated.com. Story Brand Certified Guide.
Perfect.
Check it out.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, brother. Good job. That was easy, wasn't it?
Dude, that was fun, bro.
Good.